In 1921, Arthur and Charles Baker purchased a site beside the railway in Bowral, a rural town located in the southern highlands of New South Wales. The company's original name was F. Baker & Sons, who erected their first Hoffman kiln by 1922, with the intention of supplying the fast-growing Canberra region with vast quantities of bricks. The company was very strong until the 1930s depression, when building took a downturn. Ray Baker took a lot of his workers to Eden, prospecting for gold to keep food on the table. In the 1940s, 2 downdraft kilns were built in anticipation of a resurgence in the industry. Following World War II, and during the period from 1953 to 1972, a booming economy eventuated. New machinery was purchased from England, Germany and the United States, and a new tunnel kiln was installed. The expansion of the plant influenced the local economy around Bowral, employing up to 100 workers and putting money into the pockets of local retailers and service providers. In 1972, A.V. Jennings purchased the company from Ron Baker. A transfer of ownership again took place in 1984, when Nefco nominees took over the plant. This purchase brought about another rebuilding of the plant with an emphasis placed on architectural supplies rather than total concentration on the housing market. In 1995, the shale quarry was extended to provide raw material for the next 40 years. There was also an upgrade of the tunnel kiln, and eventually an increase in production up to 18 million bricks per year. The manufacture of these wonderful bricks has always begun in the quarry. The original quarrying was done by drilling and blasting methods. The blasted materials were loaded into a skip using picks, shovels and wheelbarrows, hauled up the pit side, then tipped into hoppers situated behind the grinding pans. The same line shaft that drove the rest of the plant drove the skip. The line shaft was originally steam-driven. This was converted to electricity in 1928, and that line shaft operated until the final day of operations. Trucks took over the role of the skip in the early 1940s by carting materials out of the pit via a haul road and by dumping directly into the storage hoppers with the use of a large wooden ramp, which was situated behind the present loft area. The truck and blasting methods lasted until the late 1980s, when, due to environmental and economic considerations, operations changed to the present-day methods of ripping and hauling using heavy earth-moving equipment such as bulldozers and scrapers. The last powder monkey finished up with the company in October 1975. From the quarry, the raw material is transported and stockpiled close to the crusher. When needed, the material was crushed down to a usable size. From the stockpile, a front-end loader emptied the raw material into the Fawcett crusher, which crushed the shale into the required size. The crusher was made up of 2 drum wheels with teeth that reduced the size of the shale for easier panning. It was then transported by conveyor belt to the top of the loft and placed into large hoppers. These slowly fed the shale into the original Foster pans via slat feeders. At this point, water was added to the desired moisture content of 6 to 8%. The 3 pans were made up of 2 large wheels weighing approximately 3 tons each. which crushed the raw material between the wheels and the hardened dead plates. And it began a process of grinding the material to the correct size of 3 millimeters or less. First it was ground down, then bucket elevators lifted the material to the screens. Then those particles were separated and the right size particles were collected for the next step of the process. The particles that were not yet the right size went back to the pan to be reground. The right size particles were transported via a conveyor belt to the mixers. The mixers stored the material ready to feed the Foster presses. The plant originally had 3 Foster presses, and then as demand increased, another 5 were added. The original style of machine was still in use until the last days. The presses used a semi-dry, pressed fixed volume method of pressing. Shale was dropped into the press moulds using a charger. 2 cam wheels rotated, pressing the material into a brick. In the early model presses, single bricks were then ejected from the machine and set on wheelbarrows. The plant operated with 1 machine operator, 1 barrowman or wheeler, and 2 setters per machine. In recent times, the machines ejected 2 bricks every 3 seconds, and 1 operator set 10,000 bricks per day, or 42 tons of material. This process is where special shapes can also be manufactured by using purpose-built moulds. Originally, 50 bricks were set on each barrow, or quarter of a ton, or 250 kilogram, which would be wheeled to the kiln and then set into blocks in the kiln. The longest run with a wheelbarrow from the machines to the northern end of the Peyton kiln was said to be 27 miles a day, setting 12,000 bricks. In the early 1960s, this method changed to bricks being carefully set into blocks and then transported to the downdraft kilns by forklifts. The kiln was filled through a series of wickets in the end and sides. These were bricked up when full, as in the face kilns, then removed again when firing was completed. 2 of the brickworks' long-time employees of over 45 years and now retired were said to have each set and stacked over 70 million bricks.
Yeah, I got 2 of them at home. I got the solid one.
Yeah.
The real solid, remember the old solid one?
Yeah, that's right.
And I've got one exactly like yours you got here.
That we used to throw the bricks on. We could get a bundle of bricks this high and plonk them down, never touch the wheel, and when it was loaded, you pick them up like this, and away you'd go out to your truck, and then pick them up 6 at a time and stack them on your truck. Do you remember those good days?
Yeah, when they used to put them on our truck, then we'd have to stack them by hand.
That's right, with the blocks, with the forklifts,
with straw and bags in between.
I've seen the bags burn between the bricks, they've been that hot sometimes.
Remember going to Canberra?
Yes.
That's
and
right,
over the years I carted bricks out of here up to Nambucca Heads, Sawtell, Coffs Harbour to the big shopping centre there just out of Coffs, and we used to get around.
The downdraft kilns were fired on nugget coal, and coal dust was used in the Peyton kiln, which was transported from the Burragarang Valley. The kilns were all converted to oil firing in 1968, and then natural gas in 1978, using 1 part natural gas and 10 parts air. The gas pipeline was constructed from near Bong Bong Racecourse to the brickworks. The township of Barrow would have been without natural gas if not for this decision. The bricks were steamed for 3 days, which meant allowing the moisture to evaporate, and then full heat was applied until the bricks were fired. During the firing process, the oxygen in the kiln was reduced, which allowed a build-up of smoke, turning the colour of the product to brown or red. The wicket was then removed and the bricks allowed to cool. From the early 1960s, forklifts took over the role of dragging bricks from the kiln. Stackers were then required to package 10,000 bricks onto wooden pallets each day. Once packaged, the bricks were transported into the storage yard, ready for sale to the general public. The foresight of the NEFCO nominees in the 1980s in swinging focus of the plant to architectural supplies is arguably the main reason for the continuing success of the Bowral plant. The Ashfield shale used from the quarry is from the same seam that runs under Sydney, which means that it's possible to reproduce the particular brick styles and colours of many heritage buildings in and around Sydney. The bricks from Bowral are specified and used to create many award-winning government and non-government projects, including upmarket housing. This wonderful ability to match architectural heritage means Bowral Bricks has become a crucial part of the restoration of many historical buildings which may otherwise have been lost forever. Austral Bricks and the Bowral Brickworks certainly have an illustrious past and an exciting future. Since Austral Bricks' purchase of Bowral Bricks in March 2001, it has increased sales and production to 22 million of the highest quality bricks per annum. Bowral currently produces 15 different colours of bricks and pavers, along with over 60 special shapes. That's over 900 different products. Recently, the Board of Directors approved a $12.4 million upgrade of the crushing and grinding facility and drying and firing processes, replacing 100 kiln cars and installing robotics to set bricks. The advent of new technology enables supply to greater and more impressive projects each year. The Australian Defence Force Academy in Canberra has in excess of 8 million Charolais cream bricks that have come from Bowral. And there are over 14,000 square metres of Bowral Duntroon pavers. Then there's the Bradman Museum, Taronga Zoo, and the list goes on. Indeed, the company is making inroads on the world market as exporters of quality products. The future looks bright and rock solid for Austral and the Bowral Brickworks.